Today we are doing a three-way comparison between the ASICS Megablast, the Adidas Evo SL, and the Vomero Plus from Nike. And the reason I'm doing these three shoes is they are all just super popular shoes that people want to know about. Now, I don't want to get too caught up on the stats, but I will put up run repeat over here. I think that just gives us a nice idea of some of the properties of the shoes, but I'm more curious about how they feel on foot, and then more importantly, how they feel when we run. So I'm going to do a mile at an easy pace for me, somewhere between like 8:30 and 9-minute pace. That's going to be where I cruise most of my daily miles. And then I'm going to do a faster mile around my threshold, somewhere plus or minus 7-minute pace, always depending on what the shoe's giving me and how we feel with it. Between, I will give you kind of an idea of how we feel with each shoe. So let's go ahead and start by getting each one of these on foot. I'll do a fit test, tell you how it feels on foot. I'll walk a little bit in it, maybe a quick little stride, and then we'll go ahead and get into the first run. I'll start with the Vomero Plus, do my 8:30-ish and my 7-ish minute paced miles. Then we'll go to the Evo and then the Megablast. And at the end, we'll do kind of a head-to-head comparison of the three and give you my final thoughts and say which one you might want in your own rotation. All right, so getting the Vomero Plus on foot first, we're gonna kick off the beater shoes and step in here. And the first thing you really notice with the Vomero Plus is it's a very plush shoe. I do think being at your standard size makes a lot of sense here. So I'm normally 12, sometimes 12.5, and most Nike stuff I actually do go up. However, in the Vomero Plus, the 12 is actually pretty spot on. As always, if these reviews are helpful, you can take a look at the Ontos running brand. That is my own brand. So I've got socks, I've got shirts and quarter zips. You can join the hat wait list. Those are almost on production. We are like 2 weeks from production finishing up there, and then they ship to us, so that's super exciting. Vomero Plus here, though, I do always runner's loop this. By and large, I do runner's loop most things, but I feel like the lockdown is just a little bit better here with the runner's loop on it. So let's see how it looks when we squish it, and then we'll do our quick walk test on it. So you can see here we get quite a good squish, although I don't think it's the softest shoe in the world. Some people feel like it is. I think it is just a good daily trainer. That's kind of where I feel like it lives for me. As I walk here, it doesn't give me anything like super crazy. It feels nice. It's just not like overstated in any way, really. I'll trot out this way real quick. And it just feels good, not extraordinary. It feels like it would be a really good daily trainer for a lot of people. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, so next we have the Evo SL. We'll go ahead and get this on foot. Something interesting to talk about with all of these is price points as well. So Evo SL comes in the lightest at 150 bucks, and holy crap, you can find deals on the Evo SL right now. I got these, I think, for 70 bucks. Yeah, I think it was $70 that I got these for. Obviously, I love the IU colorway, being from Indy, growing up only 45 minutes from Indiana University. So these are super sick to get it in a colorway I like as well. The big drawback here is the upper on the first generation, man, is just super mid. It is kind of goofy. Like, I have to take an extra couple of seconds to try and resituate this tongue so it's not like cramping into my foot, which, like, I just don't want to have to deal with that. And then where the upper, where the laces kind of tail off and you have just this really breathable mesh, it's very, very noticeable, like the feeling of that in here. That's why they did the woven. And I think you can still find the woven, Evo SL woven, for a pretty good deal online. Immediately, though, it feels very stripped down compared to the Vomero Plus. There's not a ton of padding up here, and obviously that comes from this being a much, much lighter shoe. You feel that it feels lighter. It feels more track day-ish, in my opinion. Also, even just sitting here on the ground, like, I can feel the difference in stack height. It's pretty substantial. So yeah, you'll notice that for sure. I did also go size 12 with this. So again, true to size for me. This is a little more fitted for sure. This is one where I could maybe have gone a 12.5 and been okay. Like a lot of times at the running store, I will tell people you can go up a half size or down a half size and get away with it a lot. Especially if you're kind of between sizes, it's not uncommon for me to be like, yeah, you're probably fine either way. These I'm a little closer to the front, and for a track day shoe, I actually do really like that. For an easy day shoe, I would probably want a half size up. So that just kind of gives you an idea where you would want to go if you're between sizes often. Now for a squish test, this feels more fluffy, like you can compress it and it wants to pop back a little more. The Vomero Plus feels a little more substantial, like it's soft and plushy, whereas this is like soft and responsive. It feels like you can more easily compress this foam and like it wants to pop back at you more. So we'll trot down this way. I mean, pared down is what I'd be saying about this shoe versus the Vomero Plus. Like it feels lighter, it feels faster, it feels more responsive, which is what it's trying to do. So between the two of these, this feels more like your workout day shoe. This feels more like your daily shoe. I did a 1 mile warm up, and of the three of these, I grabbed for the Vomero Plus. So if you're doing a lot of running where you just kind of want to feel good about your legs, not really feeling too beat up or anything, Vomero Plus gets a great lean on that. On the exact opposite side of this coin, you have the Evo SL, which is going to be your I want to go feel fast shoe between these two. To finish the conversation on price, the Megablast here is what I'm sure a lot of you are wondering about. It is $225, and I'm not seeing it on sale a whole lot. It is a very expensive shoe, and the reason it is they are trying to take these two shoes and put them into one. I've not loved the Megablast to this point, but I'm curious if going between multiple shoes kind of makes it the good parts of the Megablast kind of shine. So we'll go ahead and get this on foot. Now, one thing I said in my initial video with the Megablast is it felt kind of firm on the midsole, but what I loved about it were the laces, which is a kind of maybe silly thing to be like overly excited about, but I think we're trying to find the positives in them. I don't remember loving the upper on this, but it's been a minute since I've had it on. Feeling here is very similar to the Evo SL. These uppers are both pretty minimal, very breathable upper, which I do like, and this tongue is gusseted. I have just had a really tough time trying to find a really good lock-in. If I heel lock this shoe, it gives me some pretty nasty lace bite on the top of my foot. So what I've done is gone to the back loop here, but not done it as a runner's loop, so I can't tighten it down quite as much. And then I just don't tighten the top of the laces much, but I do kind of cinch it down at the forefoot. The problem is, though, it gets very buckly. So you can see it is buckling like kind of all over the place. This is kind of pulled together. I hope so much that they can fix the upper on this shoe, because I do think it will make a big difference on how many people it will work for. Now, I did get this in a size 12.5 when I was at the running event. These were given to me, so thank you ASICS, and thank you to the running event for existing. I don't know, that was just a really cool event. So they were out of 12s. I got a 12.5, and this is one where I'm normally a 12 and would much prefer to have a 12 in this. Like, I've got more than a full thumb space here at the front of the shoe, so my toes right here. I think it runs a little long, personally. Would have been much happier. I feel like even an 11.5, I would have been at the front. But if I'm using it for just fast workouts, maybe I would have gotten away with it a little more like that race fit kind of thing. But 12 would have been for sure the correct answer, and that would have probably had me using it a little more. So the upper also feels just a little loose, a little gapey. Like, I've got a lot of space in it. So if you have a higher volume foot or you need a little more width, this would be good. You can also get the Vomero Pluses in wides. Let's go ahead and walk around in it though and see how it squishes. So giving this a squish test, it feels way squishier in the heel than it does in the forefoot. And like, man, even right here, just standing, I didn't say this about either of the other ones, but it feels like I am just fighting to get a non-buckly fit on the upper here. Maybe that's just my problem with the shoe is the upper. Anywho, the heel feels way more squishy than the forefoot. The forefoot does not feel like it gives a ton of bounce. The forefoot, golly, man, I'm stopping again. Just to try and get this to not like rub over tendons on my foot. And I don't have it overly tight. It just feels like it's, maybe that'll be fine. The foam, the FF Turbo Squared, this does feel really light on foot, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the forefoot has a ton of pop on it. We'll run out and back real quick. Most noticeable thing is it is very light. It just feels like it's kind of hardly there, but there's a lot of protection and it's a wide platform. So I do like that. It's a pretty wide platform. I think that helps a lot of folks. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw the Vomero Plus on. We will get our first 2 miles in, and then we will, as I said, compare all of them between and at the end. Interestingly, putting this back on after having the other two, it's almost like a kind of sense of relief, like, this is nice. Not like, oh, I'm about to go run fast. That nice plush feel. This for sure feels like the daily trainer of the bunch. I'm super curious how this ends up feeling, because I remember I ran really fast in the Evo SL for the first run review where I was running under 6 minute pace. I'm really curious where that fits in compared to these. And I'm not going to go like quite that hard for the threshold, because I'm supposed to be doing 7 total miles, 4 easy, 3 at threshold, like mile on, mile off. And this workout just kind of fit in. And we've got 3.5 hours of running to prep for the 50K tomorrow. So I'm not going to bury myself today. I think it's going to get us a great idea of what it does in real life though. Like, you're not running your hardest mile every single day in a shoe, but you do threshold workouts somewhat often. So let's go ahead and get into the run with these. Before we get started in this too, I'm also super excited to try this. This is a Never Second espresso flavored gel. I've had one Never Second gel before. I've been waiting to try it. Just haven't had a good time where I want 75 milligrams of caffeine, because I usually have a lot of coffee in the morning. So I don't usually also want a gel with more caffeine in the morning, but after like 12, I don't want to do more caffeine. So get to try this because I haven't had enough to eat this morning, which my fault. And that is atrocious. Oh man. Oh, that's awful. The consistency is like a terrible version of the SIS gel, the isotonic. And the espresso flavor just tastes like a shot of espresso, but it's not sweet at all. Like, Goo has a very good espresso love gel. Like, I really enjoy that. This tastes atrocious. I hate to waste, I'll put it down, but man, this sucks. That's awful. Oh, hard pass on this flavor. The other one was like a passion fruit or something, and it was fine, but this should not exist. Well, that was really sad, and I don't have any extra water in the car, so I'm gonna have to find a water fountain out here to rinse that out. But that was atrocious. Don't buy that. I'm going to go ahead and start this run though. Hopefully this doesn't like throw my stomach all the way off. If it's bad enough, I'll come grab another gel that I actually like. We are just about a half mile in, little quick, but this feels good. It feels like a nice daily trainer, a good bit of foam between you and the ground. You don't have much ground feel at all, but you do get a good like protective feeling, and I really like the upper. The upper is like very soft, very plush, very enjoyable. Could totally see this being a long run shoe as I start going into, I think I'm doing a 16 by 16. So 16 miles, 16 weeks in a row for the long run, with the goal of getting a really good base going into the Kiowa Island Marathon prep. I'll go ahead and check back in as we finish up this mile and as we go into the first mile at 7-minute pace. Okay, there we have it. First mile right at 8:30. So as I said, I'll keep them between 8:30 and 9-minute pace. Feels very good. Nothing overly exciting though. So that's what you have to keep in mind with this, is it does its job really, really well. I am excited to see how it feels under 7-minute pace. Again, I've only run in this that fast. The one other time where I was doing the first run review on them, and the review with the Super Blast in these. I'm very excited to get this going fast and curious if it can go fast well, then we'll break it down. Okay, so I'm purposefully trying not to look at my pace on the watch. So let's check in. I think we're around a half mile because this shuts off around 3 minutes and then I gave it some more time. So it's actually pretty good. I'm trying to just go like with threshold feel, not necessarily like trying to over push it at all. So we got 0.4 of a mile left. I'll check in just a minute. Okay, so 7:12, that means I definitely faded back on the second half of that. Did not feel like there was a ton of push, ton of pop. So to the long run comment in these, I don't know that I'm doing a long run in these with pace. If I need to just go get 16 miles, like I said, I could see this being a really solid option for that. Now, in terms of the weight, I'm not really feeling that too much. It doesn't feel particularly heavy on foot. I think what I notice more is just the lack of pop. We'll see how that compares in this versus the Evo SL, and kind of interestingly because of the stack height against the Megablast. All right, so we're gonna be pretty quick here, switching out of one and into the other shoe so I can keep this run kind of going. Good daily trainer. That's where that's falling for right now. I did not love the 7-minute pace work. I think we're just gonna get the inverse in these, where these are like fine at our daily pace and feel pretty good at that faster pace. But we gotta get to the run. I'm always surprised by things, so we'll see if we are surprised here today. Again, gonna shout out the socks. They feel really good. If you wanna pick up a pair, they are cheaper than Belega or Features, and I think they are pretty good. They've got the same compressive band around the arches with those guys, and you're supporting a local creator. Well, a small creator, I guess. I may or may not be local to you. Interestingly, coming out of the Vomero Plus and into these, I do not feel the upper as annoyingly as I did when we were sitting over on the bench. Let's go ahead and start running though. So immediately when we start running, as I just said the upper wasn't bothering me, it feels like it's crinkling on the top of my foot, which is annoying, but it feels way faster. Coming out of those into these, they feel lighter, feel airier, and more poppy, and we're right around pace. We're at 8:21 to start, so I'm gonna slow that back a little bit and see what it feels like, maybe closer to like, I don't know, 9-minute pace, and then we'll speed it up on the faster one. So as we started here, definitely felt like the tongue was moving and my heel was not fully situated in the back, so I'm actually stopping, which I do not normally do, to tighten the fit in a little more on the heel. Heel slippage does not normally bother me, and I think I would be fine to keep running, but I want to give it a fair shake. So if I ran in this more often, I'm sure I would figure out that dialed fit, and want to give it the fair shake today as I'm comparing it. Feels like maybe just because I was sitting in the car, I didn't quite get it as tight as normal. We are just about a half a mile in, so I'll give you my thoughts on this right now. It feels, like I said right away as I was coming out, it feels lighter and it feels better. I do wish it was a half size larger. I wish this was a 12.5. As I started that, I was like, man, I'm kind of up on the top. I would race a 5K in this. I think it would feel really good with the correct size to do a 16-mile workout with pace in these. Actually, it reminds me a lot of the Skechers Aero Razor. Whoa, didn't know that moves. Anyhow, we'll keep walking. Reminds me of the Skechers Aero Razor in like a really good way. I'll resume this right now. Yeah, 840, 2.4 miles. So 0.4 into this one. And it feels like it's just very comfy at that pace. I am not, as I said, trying to run this part fast because I was curious how it would feel for a longer run at an easier pace. Like we were testing the Vomero Plus. Can it do the 7-minute fast? Can these do this easier pace fast and well? I think you're gonna have to get the fit really, really dialed, because even though I just changed it, now it feels too tight, like I wanna mess with it again. But maybe that's just not a feature, but you know, the idea of, is it a bug or is it a feature of like a software program? Feels like it's really lightweight, and that just gives you less margin for error on the upper fit. Well, I wasn't even going to stop for it to record it, but I actually did end up stopping again to reposition the laces. Hopefully it's dialed in right now, but like it went from, can I just make a small tweak, to I'm like fighting with the laces. So the upper is real tough on this one. I think that's why the woven has been such a big deal, because they just kind of fixed the issues with the upper on that one. So just quickly touching on it, because I've stopped twice for it now. The pace feels good. Feels like I could heel strike kind of how I want to, because I know I do. Doesn't feel like it was really, really punishing. Although I did notice coming out of the Vomero Plus into these, I could tell the drop was lower. So this is a 6.5 millimeter drop versus 10 in the Vomero Plus. And as a heel striker, I do generally like to have a good bit in the heel. But this felt like there was enough cushion. Like the foam feels like it's doing just such a heavy lift for the shoe. Like what this shoe provides, like 99% of it is the Light Strike Pro. That just feels so good on foot. Feels like it's making up for kind of the drop. I would still want to run in this even with the upper not being super dialed in, because the foam feels so good. So let's go ahead and do that 7-minute mile. Then we'll switch to the Megablast. Oh yeah, same thing here. I'm gonna not look at the watch for as long as I can to get kind of like a sense of how the threshold pace feels given the shoe, without me like trying to push for a specific time. So we'll see in about a half mile. So I figured I'd get to the same spot as I got to last time. Let's go ahead and see where we're at. Right about the same pace, 7:05. It feels better. Like actually right now I feel pretty not great. I don't think that gel is sitting particularly well, but the shoe feels really good. I much prefer this pace in these compared to the Vomero Plus, and especially getting more to my midfoot, you know, running faster, this feels better there than on the heel. Okay, so we had a similar pace, but it felt way better in the shoe. Maybe came out a little fast in the Vomero Pluses because I was going, well, no, that's not even true. I don't know, I ran pretty similar times. It just felt easier in these. Let's go ahead and switch to the Megablast. See how that compares against these two. I really like the way these feel. Like, I really, really do. I'd be interested to have the woven in a half size up, just to kind of fix that upper issue. Because again, the Light Strike Pro foam feels really good. Time to switch shoes. So I do have to say, I'm pretty disappointed I had to stop twice in these to get a reasonably good fit on them. But other than that, 8:30 pace felt good, 7-minute pace felt better. Let's switch to the Megablasts. It was kind of funny as I was pulling it out of the car. I was like, wow, this just feels so incredibly light. I was like, huh, this almost feels a little bit like styrofoam. I'm hopeful that I like these more than I feel like I do in my head. I really want to like them because there's so much hype around them. But if you've seen my ASICS Super Blast 3 versus Megablast video, you know I prefer the feel on the Super Blast to these, at least with what I remember, from a fit perspective and from a foam perspective. Even though those are lighter, this didn't feel like it really woke up until I was like faster than my half marathon race pace. And by the time I'm doing that, I'm usually going to be in a carbon plate, unless it's in training. So I don't know. I hope I like this more. I'm going to really try and dial the fit in before we start so we don't have the same issues we had on the Evo SL. Also, to be clear, the fact that I have to spend this much time to make the upper feel moderately right, I think is kind of a negative. Like the Super Blast, I just put it on and it feels good and feels right and the fit is nice. The Vomero Plus, same thing. 1080, same thing. There are so many shoes where it's like the upper just isn't an issue. For a shoe to be as expensive as this is, I feel like the upper should be pretty dialed in. Like, even right now, I don't feel like I should have to play with the tongue this much to try and get it to feel normal. Hopefully that'll work. Actually, I'm going to leave that in and I'm going to speed it up so you guys can see like how much repositioning I was doing throughout that whole thing. Like checking this foot as this one's here. And now I'm going to put my feet down like that feels about right, but this one feels like it needs to tighten up down here now. But then I tighten it up and just along this lace here feels like it's pushing into the tendon there. Okay, so without even moving the laces, it feels better, fine, if you will. Not incredible or fantastic or like $225. Like, I still have this in here from the other day. This upper, this shoe is $225, and this upper feels stinking awesome. I want this shoe to be the weight of the Megablast. These two married up would be an incredible combination. I would love to see a way to put those two together, like the foam and the upper of this, but the weight of this. Golly, that would be a killer shoe. Actually, that's kind of funny. It's kind of like the Super Blast if the Super Blast had just a little more pop to it. I think that's what that would be like. But obviously, if it's a Super Blast with a little more pop, then it's going to be one of my favorite shoes ever because I like the Super Blast as much as I do. At any rate, let's go ahead and run in these. I haven't even started running yet, and I'm already trying to fix this. I'm literally going to have to try and play with this again. I'll cut it so you don't have to watch me mess with this, but come on. Okay, I think we're good now. This one feels a little loose, but hopefully that's just fine because I don't want to keep messing with it. I want to go run. So I guess we will. So let's hope this foam carries it the same way the Evo SL did. I know a ton of people love the way the FF Turbo Squared foam feels in here. And like, it feels good to start. We'll check in a minute. I think we're cruising right around our pace. Yeah, we are. Good job. So we'll check in a minute. So we are, again, like right at this pace. This is nice to be a little locked in there. Now, the Megablast feels good, feels more substantial than the Evo SL, but it does not feel lighter. That's probably because it's as stacked up as it is. But it doesn't feel lighter or particularly faster, but it does have a little more cushion feel, not necessarily faster or more energy response. Well, reckon we ran that a little faster than I even kind of meant to. Honestly, like when I was talking and not thinking about how my foot was landing, it felt okay. Once I put the camera down the first time, it felt like I was able to find a very specific spot just at the forefront of my heel. Like, so heel strike didn't feel good, but at the front of the heel, almost like purposefully midfoot striking, it felt substantially better. It felt like there's a button you hit and roll just really nicely. And maybe I just need to run in these a lot more to figure that out. I don't love when shoes have like a hard learning curve. And that sounds silly, but it's kind of real. When you have a new shoe, you kind of have to mechanically figure out where you need to land to be the most efficient in it. Like, I know I've told the Connor Mance story before, but he really liked the Alpha Fly 1s because he was more efficient in them, actually in the lab, so no air quotes, he was. So he was running in a bunch of Alpha Fly 3s because he wanted to save his 1s because they don't make them anymore. But because he was running in the 3s so much, when they retested later on, he actually became more efficient in the Alpha Fly 3s. So yeah, like the Alpha Fly, I thought had a huge learning curve in terms of like where I need to be hitting to get the most out of it. So I was saying on race, in the race video I did, feel free to take a look here or here, wherever it is, if you want to see my Alpha Fly 3 review. But that one feels like it has a big learning curve. What I just felt in these makes me feel like these have a pretty big learning curve, especially because, I don't know, I've got like 30 or 40 miles in them. And every time I put them on there, I'm like, these are like almost really good. And then I'm just kind of bleh about them. So as I was saying with the Evo SLs, as I got to the faster pace, I kind of moved my foot landing, the foot strike, a little further up from kind of the back of my heel, really, honestly, when I'm running anything slower than 7-ish minute pace. I start moving up a little bit in my forefoot. I'm curious if these feel better with that faster pace, or if I'm going to feel better with it being like the heel in these are much softer. So am I getting a nice roll when I'm in the kind of middle of the forefoot of my heel, or the middle of the forward part of my heel, excuse me? Or does it feel better landing further up, not getting as much squish on the heel, but then maybe compressing and getting a little more pop out of the forefoot? Again, I'm going to run the same distance, trying not to look at my watch, but just going off of a threshold type feel, and then check what we're at a half a mile in. So I've not really like found that perfect balance point. I was kind of hoping to. Got a friend over there. Anyhow, what are we at? Almost. Okay, so we went a little far on it, but hanging out at 7:05-ish. Feels, I don't know, feels like a weird word to use for it, but almost like powerful is where I would put the shoe now. But it doesn't feel smooth. Smooth is not how I would describe it. So finishing up there, it was faster. It was faster than the Evo SL and the Vomero Plus. Now, I still think I prefer the way the Evo responded in terms of speed, but I don't know, we did run faster in these, and I think that's a worthwhile thing to note. And one of the other things I think I've said in another video maybe is I think these kind of soften up as you run in them more. Almost like it feels overly firm to start, and then even just 2 miles in, it's like, oh, this feels a little better. It doesn't have that like marshmallowy pop feel, but I don't know why I'm gravitating towards the word powerful, because that's not a very descriptive word for a shoe, like in terms of descriptive words like poppy or smushy or, you know, words in that vein. I think maybe describe shoes better, but powerful I don't think would normally be one. Exciting even, but exciting isn't the right word. It just feels like I ought to be running fast in these, but there's enough substance with them that it's not like scary to do that or feel like it would be hard on the legs at all to do that. At any rate, I'm gonna pop these off. We'll break down all 3 of the shoes, and then you guys can see what you think you would like. Okay, welcome to the too long didn't watch section of the video, where I'm breaking down the results of the test with these 3 shoes. I'll go in the order that I ran in them and break down, I think, kind of value and what the shoe's intended for and how well it does that job. So Nike Vomero Plus is intended to be a more cushioned daily trainer. So this is not trying to be a fast workout shoe. When I asked it to try and run faster, it unwillfully complied, but it was fine running faster at that 7-minute pace, but it really shined in that more comfortable pace, that more daily training pace. In terms of value, again, finding these on sale, I think it's a great deal. I've enjoyed this more than I thought I would after my first run review in them. I've pulled for it more than I expected to, but that's because it's doing its job well. And I think that's the sign of a good shoe, is you're going to grab it more frequently. So intended to be a good trainer, and is. So that gets a check mark for me. The Evo SL. So this is certainly a faster shoe. I am really surprised that as many people daily train this shoe as that say they do. It feels good as a daily pace shoe. I don't think I would say it feels great. I love how light it is though. It feels light. It feels very nimble. Nimble would be a good word to describe it. Once you dial the fit in, I think it does its job really nicely. You just have to get the fit dialed, which is annoying that you have to do that. But again, tolerable once you get running in it. And I felt the same way about the Megablast, which I'll get to in a sec. But yeah, if I wanted to pull for a shoe that I'm like, I'm going to go run fast, but want some protection still, this would go really well. Again, value, I think finding it on sale under $100 You're getting a lot of value with the Light Strike Pro foam. And then like a comparable shoe to this, I would say again, is the Skechers Aero Razor. Now, in regards to the Vomero Plus, I think a comparable shoe would kind of like be the Vomero 18, even though it's a little bit heavier, the 18 is. I still think they're pretty comparable in terms of how they feel. And then the Megablast, I didn't find that like really hopeful spark that I was wanting to find. It was fast, but I told you, I was like, I felt like I found this spot and I could roll really well, and I just didn't feel like I could find it at that faster pace. Maybe again, I'd need more miles in it to get more accustomed to running in it, but geez, it's kind of tough to ask someone to do. Like 40 miles in, I feel like I should have a pretty good feel for how the shoe is running. Comparable shoe here, I don't know that there are very many because of how unique this is. The most comparable in my mind is the Super Blast, but it just does everything this does a little better, except for the really, really fast stuff. Really wide platform. I like that durability on all three of these. Pretty good to my understanding. I haven't gotten 100 plus in any of these. But yeah, if you want a really good, stable, long run shoe and you like a little firmer feel, Megablast really might be it for you. It just doesn't have that fun feel to me that I look for in a lot of my shoes. Fun is a unique thing, and it's going to be person to person what you find fun. But to me, this is just not very fun. Super Blast is fun. Evo SL, honestly, pretty fun because it makes me want to go run fast. It makes me think more like a track spike feel. Worth the price? Absolutely not. No shot I would spend $225 on this. I would rather spend $225, which is more than the sale, like retail price on the Super Blast, than pay it to get this. I just wish I liked it more. I know there are a lot of people that do, so I'm only one guy. If you love it, if you have a friend who loves it, totally go try it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The upper, I did feel like I was able to get dialed in pretty well. The second mile, I wasn't thinking about the upper whatsoever. So that's really good. But that's, I think, what we got. We got our fast workout shoe. We have our easy daily trainer. And then if you want to kind of put those two together for a fast shoe that can do easy miles, I know there are people who daily this all the way up to racing, like half marathon, full marathon distances in them. If it works for you, I'm totally down for it. Feels like it is kind of a mix of those two just because of how lightweight it is. If you have any more questions or if you want to see me compare these against any other shoes out there, by all means, let me know. I want to do comparisons that you guys want to see. So let me know in the comments, anything that you want me to compare against. You guys kind of see what's on my wall. If there are other shoes that I don't have, I can potentially go buy them. With that said, I hope you guys have a great day. Check out the Ontos running brand if you are so inclined. Obviously, that supports me a ton as a small creator. And do something good for your body. Have some happy miles. We'll see you next time. Bye.